Hello, Matthew Burkett. This is Matt Winchell. Obviously, we did the Super Kaiju podcast together a couple of times. It's kind of on hold, trying to get more than just two people to be a regular cast member. Also, actually contemplating maybe trying to do a solo run with Super Kaiju, but that's another story. Well, of course, what you wanted are stories on our collections. So, let's have a look, shall we? This over here is the collection that I have previously shown you in only still image format. Over here in particular, we have the head of Godzilla. He is a miniature playset. Both Rodan and Godzilla are still in there, along with essentially downtown New York, New York. Statue of Liberty, the Twin Towers, oddly enough, and a couple of other tall buildings to go along with to be knocked over. That's actually my first real Godzilla bit of figurine collecting, and obviously start of a small collection that I do have. Also, something with a short story. Somewhere back here is a collection of VHS tapes, both up here and down here. Somewhere back there on this shelf, I guarantee you it, is my first actual Godzilla movie. It was Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. Yes, it had that. Actually, it was that version that didn't have that silly other movie opening. So, I believe it's still called Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, and that's why I've usually referred to that movie as ever since. I did try looking back there, even with the camera here, but I can't seem to find it still. Oh well, I'll find it again someday, I'm sure. Going back to the collection over here, I do have other Godzilla figures that I collected as a kid around the same time I got that playset there. However, the thing is that my Godzilla in particular, I actually removed the tail, and I think you weren't supposed to do that, so my father actually had to screw the tail back on and painted it green for me and stuff like that. But also back in the day, I also had a Heisei Mechagodzilla. I believe these both happen to be down in the basement, but I'm not entirely sure anymore. I hardly ever go down there. But what you are looking at now is stuff I have collected in the more recent years. And actually, there's a little bit of background even before the collection actually gets started. The actual collection you see here actually started with this. Godzilla Save the Earth. It's a PlayStation 2 game, obviously, so it's a little bit older, but I dare say it's probably one of the best Godzilla games ever made. It also features, in particular, Jet Jaguar, karate chopping his way through every menacing monster in the Godzilla universe. So as you can probably figure from what I just mentioned, Jet Jaguar here is my first in the more modern collection of figures for Godzilla. I actually got him also at my first real convention. I went to Anime Central, otherwise known as ACEN, in Chicago, Illinois. I saw him there. He was $10. I really liked him in the game. I said, you know what? Give it to me. I'll take him. So I got him. I believe that I went to Anime Central again the next year or a couple years later, and I got this Godzilla. I believe this is the Final Wars Godzilla, if not one of the other Millennium versions. After him, I believe Mechagodzilla here came first. He was from a convention I actually work at called GeekCon, hosted in Madison, Wisconsin. One of the comic book vendors happened to have him. I went, yes, get to me. After him, I visit Madison every once in a while, and I managed to find this, I would assume either 1950s or 1960s Godzilla, probably most likely a 1960s version. He was in one of those black boxes that Bandai usually does. Him and Mechagodzilla here were in those. And, actually, before I go over to him, this is another Heisei Mothra, at least a toy from that particular time era. I believe the button actually still works. Actually, no, never mind. I actually had a friend who had one, but he doesn't know what happened to it, and like one of the wings last time I saw it was missing. So when I wanted to do use Mothra in a online video, I actually had to go out and buy him. Also, you notice that I have the two baby Mothra larvas. I might add that one is red-eyed, one is blue-eyed, as their eye color seems to change depending upon their mood, as has been mentioned a couple other places. I actually got this from a miniature collection, and the others I got from this collection you'll see right here. This Godzilla and this Space Godzilla also came from the same collection of miniature Godzilla figures. But comparing them to the Mothra, and comparing the Mothra to the others around them, they actually fit in quite well, so I'm actually glad I got these. These fit in perfectly with the actual normal collection of 6-inch tall figures. Then finally, right over here, probably the biggest hunk of plastic out of all these guys over here, is the Godzilla versus Mothra versus King Ghidorah, etc., etc. He is probably the heaviest figure I got. If he actually stood upright, he would tower over everyone. He is definitely taller than the other two Godzillas I have in this particular area. And you can tell which one he is, obviously, by the whitish white eyes, the nice, big, chunky stature. Also, those toes. I remember those toes in that movie. Those are some big feet. They've kind of slimmed things down more recently, to be honest. So yeah, those were hunkin' huge. That was kind of a really nice, menacing Godzilla, too. So, kind of glad I managed to grab him. Also, starting a couple of years back, I was actually doing a snowblowing job, and I managed to collect this bastard. This Mechazord actually came to me in about $45 from eBay. Obviously, he's missing a few things, like the Triceratops is missing the horns, I guess they called it Mastodon at the time, for the American show, is missing his tusks. Also, the sword has seen some slightly better days, but he's not bad for wear. I've seen far worse swords in shorter periods of time. Also, as usual with the old model, the head's kind of small. But overall, he was doing pretty fine, but I believe the actual Mastodon head was missing, I come to find out. So I actually did spend an extra $5, so for an entire $50, I actually got the entire Megazord in one piece, more or less, except for, of course, the minor accessories I just mentioned. Oh, also, I believe there's some feet or something that are missing from the back. They're like guns when the Mastodon's his own solo form. Still, overall, other than a few missing little parts, which I'm sure I can collect someday, he's all in one piece, and he's in pretty good shape, and I occasionally use him in videos, so. The more recent collections I've actually done would be these fellows over here. About a year and a half ago now, I think, somewhere thereabouts, at another GeekCon convention, I got this particular Godzilla. He was about $25. He is the full 12-inch huge model version. As you can see, he sits right behind my computer monitor nowadays. He's quite big, so it's kind of hard to find a real place for him outside of here, so when I actually got a new monitor, I was able to squeeze him right back there, and here he stands. And about a couple months ago, I believe I announced this actually on an episode of the podcast that you were on, I finally got this version of Mechagodzilla, the third version. And he's also a massive bastard, and again, when I got a new screen, the new monitor, he fit in back here quite nicely, and now I just have the both of them sitting out on the other edge from one another. And that's the collection for the most part. Also, you can see the DVDs back there. I've been collecting DVDs for quite a while now. And actually, there's some more Toho ones on top of the comic book collection there. But for the most part, all the Godzilla movies go right in there. And that's about it for right now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this manages to get into your little video collection. I'll see you next time. Later.